This week's Duncan Disorderly column looks at whether Winston Peters might be perfectly timing a return to Parliament. Duncan, why do you think this?
Oh, how many times have I said this? He's an opportunist. And he's been hugely opportunistic here. But at the same time, it's choreographed too. It's classic Peters. It's the old playbook. But this time, I think his timing's perfect. You've got people who are tired of this government. That's happened quite quickly. You've got people voting National, but with the jury still out a little bit on Christopher Luxon and whether he's up for it. So who are the options? It's David Seymour and Act, and Winston's back. I thought we'd seen his final demise, but he has ridden his horse into town, as he likes to say, into Christchurch. 100 people he's put into a room with tables, so it looks busier than it really is, because 100 people is not that many at a conference. And he has used very select, careful language and topics to race bait, to get the people excited, to get the people angry and worried and annoyed and ready to vote for Winston again. It's classic. It's worked in the past. Whenever there's a protest vote on, Winston's benefited greatly. Our election history shows that.
Surely voters have heard it all before from Winston and New Zealand First. Is there anything different in what they're saying this time?
Nope.
Nothing?
It's all the same. It's the same playbook. And he's been gone, he's come back, he's gone, he's come back, he's gone, he's come back, and he's doing it again. He resurrects himself. And we're to blame. The New Zealand public vote for this guy, not in their numbers, but he only needs to get to 5%. He doesn't need to win elections. He needs to get himself into a position where he can either choose or they can't do without him. He's wily, he's cunning, and he doesn't go away. He won't be gone until he's dead. This guy is a full-time career politician. He's bored and he wants back in, and he's perfectly scratching some itches. And the opportunity, the small window of opportunity back in, he's picked it beautifully, I think.
After the last election's loss, would some of his voter base just have gone to ACT?
I think they've gone everywhere, not to Labour. They've gone back to National and probably to ACT. Maybe a few in the top parties and a few of those fringy ones. They felt let down by Peters. They didn't expect him to put Jacinda Ardern into government. They felt it was deceitful and disloyal, and they've walked away. But a number of people might be voting Winston for the first time, remember, that people who haven't voted are sick of the big parties, and you'll get a bit of that, because sometimes these big parties have just delivered nothing after all their time in office. So maybe there'll be a protest vote. I think there'll be quite a strong protest vote. And the history shows when the public is protesting with their votes, they land with Peters. He'll know this, and he's now targeting them very specifically, I think. You listen to him, he's talking to the disaffected as usual.
How can NZ First best capitalise on this voter discontent? What should they be pushing?
The same tight-old messages that they've always done. Dog whistle on immigration. New Zealand's being lost. The Māori are co-governing, and it's apartheid, and they're running the show. And there's two systems, one for the white man, and now the Māori are here. And Peters will prey on people's fears. It's what he's always done well. I would have thought people have seen this and are tired of it and they're over it by now. But at 4% in the polls, that's higher than he has been before and to launch in his campaign. And it's a really good launching pad for. You only got to get to 5. I think he might be back.
Do you think he'll get 5%?
If he's on 4 now, then unless he does something terrible and the others suddenly start to engage with the New Zealand public better, I think the public's tired of the big parties. They gave the big party the vote last time because they were worried about the Greens' influence, so Labour stormed home. That won't happen again. And I think the jury is out a little bit on Luxon, so they'll look for an insurance policy in the protest vote. Peter Dunn's not there. The Greens are retired to Labour. There's only one guy. It's Peters. ACT might be good enough, I think, to see him off. I think ACT are a much stronger party now. Better processes, better systems, better people.
Can he muck it up this time?
Peters? Oh, he can always muck it up. But you can never say never with Winston. The people who say they know what he's doing, they'll be lying to you. People who write him off are deeply concerned that they might be wrong. So I learned very early in my journalism career never to write off Peters. You make that mistake once. He's also got nothing else. Remember the polar bear at Auckland Zoo used to go back and forward, bored, looking for something to do, out in the cold. That's Peters. And he's looking for something to grab onto. And there are enough stupid people that have brain fade that, quite frankly, will put him back into office or in a position to take office again. I think it's deeply concerning that people just have short memories. I was there in '96 when he formed that government with National, after campaigning for the last 8 weeks saying he wouldn't put them back into office. So I've learnt my lesson so many times with Peters. It's showing all the hallmarks of being back. But a year's a long way away.